happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. I thank God. We have a fantastic morning, and it's a good time for us as we look at 5 actions in financial self-care. And I think it's good for our listener to tell their friend that we moved from 8 to 9 so that they don't miss out. So you can tell your friend to tell a friend. Is this good time when we actually have the rains, or yesterday was a wet day? And I'm not sure what my listener we are doing with excess water. We must always ask ourselves, what are we doing with that excess water? I know the holidays are on. I'm not sure what the little ones are doing. They must be very busy. But are you getting them to learn any money lessons? Because that's important for them. The national examinations are done. We expect the results within the festive season. And it is always good to prepare for the next level. But the holidays are here. Today must be the last Tuesday of November. And so we get into December. And I see the malls have become very colorful now. And I'm not sure whether my listener, you're ready. Are you ready to travel? Are you on holiday? Are you shopping? Are you assisting the needy? I'm not sure what you're doing. But I'm happy to be here this morning so that we can be able to look at 5 actions of our financial self-care. My name is Wahome Ngari from the Personal Finance Academy. And at the Academy, we make people grow better with money. So they can have some financial intelligence, the ability to be able to make financial decisions with some comfort. And we do this through financial literacy programs. We have the Personal Financial Planning Masterclass, and this is for people who are selling financial services, people who sell insurance, people who sell banking. And we are happy that we have been able to train quite a number, and we continue to train others. But we also have the Wealth Creation Masterclass. This is for professionals, business people, office workers, or people in self-employment. And tonight we actually start season 45. And so it is a good time if you want to improve yourself in money matters. You can actually join us today. And lesson 1 is about the psychology of money, why you deal with money the way you do, what informs how you deal with money. Or are you the type of person who is always buying, and sometimes you get bored of the things you have bought and you don't know why you still buy others? Or are you the person missing opportunities because you suffer from analysis paralysis? You analyze, the opportunity is gone. We can come in tonight and learn more. And I always say there are few chances. So if you just get in touch, just text or call 0708-150-137. Somebody can give you a chance. 078-150-137 as we start season 45 today. And we're saying if you want to join season 45, just invest 4 hours a week, and this you're going to do for 10 weeks. We'll be doing it on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the evening between 7 and 9. So you can come and see today. We have some limited chances. And I think I'll say an American author called Mark Twain says, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. We must start somewhere. And thanks, Kate, that you have told us. We had a nice discussion about the 7 rules of personal finance. And those seven rules were just questions about how much of your income should go to needs, what goes to wants, and what goes to goals. And we talked about the 50-30-20 rule. We also had a question on what is the relationship between your current monthly income and how much you're saving so that you can keep the same lifestyle in retirement. We also had a question of how much should you use to own a home compared to an annual income. How long will it take your investment to double? And how much income should you use to service a car loan? I think those were part of the questions. And I think the last one was something to do with emergency fund and monthly income. And the last one was life insurance. And we said the rule 1 was on distribution of income, the 50-30-20. That to make the best use of your income is to budget. And since there are very many competing interests for the money, it is important to have a guideline of where the money should go between your needs, your wants, and your goals. And we say the first action is to capture our expenses every month so that we can be very sure where the money is going. I'm hoping our listener has been able to capture, and that way we can be able to see where this is going. Because we said 50% on needs, 30% on wants, and 20% on goals. And in fact, I invited our listener, if you want to join the masterclass, that's how you're going to understand about goal setting, budgeting, and proficient investing. Rule number 2 was on how how much do you need to save so that you can maintain the same lifestyle when you retire. And we call it the 300 rule. that if you take your current expenses and multiply by 300, that will give you a rough guide of how much investment you need to be able to give you the lifestyle that you are enjoying now. So we said if you're on 50,000, you multiply it by 300, that's 15 million. So if you have a fund of 15 million, we give you around 150,000 every month. That would be adequate to live in. And so that's why in the masterclass, we help people to learn about retirement planning so that you can be very clear, how much do I need and how do I accumulate that. Rule number 3 was on home ownership. How much of your income should you use for the purpose of owning a home? And we said you should not be working more than 2.5% of your annual income. So if you're on 100,000, multiply by 12, multiply by 2.5, 3 million. Any house above 3 million will overstretch you. So do not buy too much home because when interest rates go high, then it becomes a very, very big burden. Rule number 4 was the rule of 72. How long does it take your money to double? And we said if you want to know how long the money is going to take double based on the interest rate that you're getting, just divide 72 by that interest rate. And so if you are getting 10% and you divide 72 by 10, you get 7.2. That's how long it is going to take to double the money. Rule number 5, this is about taking a loan to buy a car. And we said yes. Your deposit for the car loan should not be more than 20% of the money you're paying. You should be able to pay your car within 4 years, and you should not be spending more than 10% of your income. That's why we call it the 20-40-10. 20 deposit for the years you used, and 10% the amount of your gross income that you use to service the car. Because cars depreciate, so we cannot put in all the money in the car. Rule number 6 was on the emergency fund, and we say the emergency fund, we should save money that can take care of all our expenses for 3 months to 6 months, because that makes it easier for us when we get the curveballs in life, a medical bill, something that requires attention quickly. And this was rule number 7. This was on life insurance, and we say the life insurance we need to have must be able to cover our income for 3 years, because that's how it is going to be able to help the family. So I think that's just a recap on the rules. And today we can go into 5 actions we can practice for financial self-care. And when we have the term self-care, people have the image of, relaxing in a bath, you go to, having a massage. But true self-care encompasses your finances too. If you don't have the money, those things will not happen. The travel will not happen. The massage will not happen. The salon will not happen. That's why we need the money. In Ecclesiastes 10:19, it says, money answers everything. And that's why we need the money to be able to take care of that. So self-care is about taking care of yourself so that you can look better, feel better, be prepared for the future. And financial self-care is obviously an aspect of that, because we need the money to be able to do that. So we are looking at, like you're giving your money some facial. Even your money must stay nice. It must be looking nice. And many experts say financial self-care starts by looking at your current money practices. What are the things that you're doing? And you continue developing better practices, better solid plans. The things you do every day. Just like if you wanted to take care of the skin, you have to do different things. Sometimes you have to put the foundation, and sometimes all those things. It is the same thing that you must have a routine that you're going to do. So in that routine, there are about 5 things that we need to do. And number 1 in self-care is just reflecting on our past. Financial experts say, taking time to consider your money story, how you grew up thinking about money. We all have lessons from our childhood about money. And I don't know what the person's lesson is. What did you hear most? Did you hear Hakuna Pesa all the day? Because if you had Hakuna Pesa all the day, it's likely to go into your mind Hakuna Pesa. So even when you have money, you will actually say Hakuna Pesa. Or you would actually decide, leo nitaonyesha pesa imefika. So you find yourself buying stuff, using money for things that are not necessary. So it is good to go back and say, what was the story? What was I taught by my parents? Some people are lucky. They were taught a lot of things, like budgeting, shopping with a list, comparing shops when you're comparing. But what were you taught about money? Because based on what you were taught about money, now you can be able to say, what do you think money is? If somebody asks, what's money to you? Because if you're holding negative views about money, what happens next? You don't want to deal with money. And if you don't want to deal with money, who will deal with your money life? So you go back and say, is there something that I would want to change? There are people who feel like they don't earn enough. There are people who feel like they don't qualify for the money that they are earning. When you're given a reward by somebody, you're wondering, am I worthy this reward? Those are the thoughts we are saying. Let's work on them. This action is about cultivating a sense of gratitude so that you're beneficial. You're grateful to God, you're grateful to people in your life, you're grateful to the opportunities. And so you do a lot of self-affirmation. Like, I deserve this money. I have worked for it. I have earned it. I can even earn more. You're turning your mind positive on your money life. That's self-care. So that you're not feeling uncomfortable around money. You want to have some comfort. No matter what the stories you had when you were young. You got into a point where now you can actually be positive around that. So that's a very, very important thing. Because like it's been found, there are people who will never sit in a corner office. They doubt themselves. Even when you're given the opportunity, you keep saying, oh, will I make it? Will I make it? It's the same thing with money. There are people who are not able to manage it. The more they get, the more they feel confused. And so we say, if you have this gratitude, you have this affirmation, you have those thought patterns, now it gets easier for you to be able to deal with money. And that's part of one important action when you're looking at self-care. Your mind. How does your mind hold about money? What's money to you? What were you taught? What were you taught that you would actually want to forget? What were you taught that you have practiced and you realize that's not the right thing to do? There are people, when you have money, you just go shopping. Now you realize over time that's not the best thing to do. I think I'm better off doing budgets. I'm better off organizing myself. So that's an important thing that we can be able to look at. So that's one action of self-care. Now the other action of self-care is letting our goals inform our habits. If you pick a goal and then you brainstorm about it and you see, what do I want? How much money do I need for this? You calculate how much you need so that you can be able to achieve that goal. So you put in place the steps, because once you have the steps of what you want to do, I mean, if we are family and we have agreed we want to travel, you must put in all the facts so that you're very clear what it is going to cost you. Now, if your family, you said we need to save money so that January we can pay fees, you need to have all the facts. How much are we saving? Where are we keeping that money? Where is it coming from? So that you have an overall picture. When you have an overall picture, it's like if you're traveling and you are not sure where you're going, where would you go? You're unlikely not to go anywhere. You're likely to get lost. So this is where here we get our goals, they inform our habits. And you will have seen, when you really have focus, even money accepts to go in that direction. You may not have enough, but you have agreed, I'm going to buy this property. And you put in a deposit. For some reason, you look for money and you find money to be able to do it because of the forecast that you give it. So we always say, focus on the goals, set out the goals, and then start seeing your habits are going there. If for example, as a family, we have agreed we want to go on holiday. Do you know on Sunday, even children don't want to go to the mall? Because the money has to be saved for this purpose. All those asking will be minimized. And that's why it is important to say, okay, what do we want to do in the short term? 2025 is coming. What are the things we want to achieve in 2025? Maybe we want some item of furniture in the house, but we need to be very clear. What is the item of furniture? Is this a coffee table? Is it the dining table? Is it a seat? Is it another bed? Is it a cot? What is the item? What will it cost us? How much money will it cost? And by when must we have it? So that then you have all that clarity. It might be an electronic, my phone is old, I need to upgrade. It might be our TV is not doing very well, we need to upgrade. Or even our fridge, whatever it is. Or could be savings, We have somebody who's just done their fourth form exam. Now we're sure they're going to go to college next year. So we need to have some savings for that. All these are debts. We need to have it paid. Or the holiday, annual holiday, we had agreed this is what we're going to do. Those are goals that are short term. And once you have clarity on those ones, then it gets easier to get them executed. The other set is what we call medium term goals. The things we are going to do over 1 year, but below 5 years. We are looking like, if you said you want to buy a car, from going to the SACCO, take a loan and paying. It's always a 3-year period or 4-year period. A lot of times when we want to buy maybe a plot and we're using the SACCO, for example, you borrow, then you pay in 3-4 years. If somebody decides, let me go back to school, I need to do that bachelor's degree, that master's degree, Again, within 5 years, it will all be done. So we are looking at those kind of things. We have wanted to go to the Vatican.
Yeah, we here.
Yeah, and it's not something we do every year, but we can actually plan for 2 years, and we say let's raise the money so that we can be able to do the traveling. So when you have that clarity, it gets very, very easy. Then we have what we call long-term goals. Long-term goals, the things that take over 5 years. If you think about maybe home ownership, it's not something we can do in 1 year. It's expensive. It takes quite a bit of time. If you're looking at retirement financing, when somebody takes up their first job, they're 22, and they contribute to NHIF until they're 60. That's almost 40 years of contribution. That's how long it takes to be able to do that. If you promise yourself you're going to do a cruise, it's something that takes quite a bit of time. Or you're saying, let me prepare to send my children to a tertiary college. Now it takes a bit of time. So setting those goals informs our habits, because that way we'll be able to direct the money. And that's a good step of self-care. That's one way of self-care in our finances.
This is our mini morning drive show. We are in our second hour, and it being a Tuesday, like I mentioned to you, we are discussing money matters. And today we're discussing a very important and interesting topic, personal financial care. And Mr. Wahome has given us so far 2 points, reflecting on your past. What have you been told? What did you grow up knowing money is? And letting our goals form our habits. And he's really took his time to explain the short, medium, and long-term goals and how they should inform our habits in terms of saving and expenditure. So now we are moving on to point number 3.
Thank you. Yeah, we move to number 3. Number 3 is an interesting one because it's about tracking our expenses, our spending. There's always a question: where did the money go? Being accountable to ourselves. Self-care means you need to have an idea where the money is going, with a lot of clarity, without doubt. I mean, if you work for an employer and you lost the money, they'll charge you. Same way, we are stewards. We should not be losing family money. We should be very, very careful where it is. You can use an app. You can use just recording on a notebook, just recording the expenses. What you're saying is getting financially naked to yourself. Exposing yourself completely. You can be very clear where the money goes, because that's going to inform your shift in spending patterns. Once you're very, very clear, you can actually be able to tell where the money is, because we always say the money we earn will leave us and go somewhere. It is either we took it ourselves or it just found its way there. There's been a joke, I think, on social media this week of a man somewhere in Muranga who lost 700,000 in barely, what was it, 6 or 7 days?
5 days.
In 5 days.
Yeah, within a week.
Very sad story if you think about it. 700,000 within such a short period of time. And I would want to imagine he never kept in the record where the money was going. He was just told, bring this money, he brought this money, bring the next money. Now, if you want to have self-care, we need to be able to tell ourselves, where is my money going? Largely, your money will go into 7 different pots. Every month, the money will go into 7 different pots. A portion of it must go into the kingdom of God. Our tithes, our offerings, the alms, what we give to the poor. Yeah. And if parents need support, they need to be supported, because I think it is very clear we need to honor our father and mother so that our days can go well. The second portion of our money will go to the taxman. It can be pay as you earn, it can be VAT, it can be advanced tax. It's always good to know how much are you giving the taxman. The number 3 area where our money is going to go all the time is our lifestyle maintenance. We have things we have to pay. We have to clothe ourselves, feed ourselves, pay our utility bills, pay for transport, and pay for all those things. So we need to be sure what is going into that area. The number 4 place where the money goes is our relations. The people close to us, our children, our spouses. Money must go into that direction for anybody who's got somebody close to them. The number 5 is the community. We are part of the community, and I'm sure this season, you're invited for this Harambe. There's a Rorasho coming up somewhere. There's a wedding coming up somewhere. There's always something coming up. There's a funeral somewhere. There's a medical bill. So we must contribute. Number 6 is what we call self-improvement. Like buying a book to read, We are looking at maybe going for a seminar, going for a program, going for studies, something like that. And number 7 is what we call the future. You know, our savings and our investments, the money that goes to the chama, the SACCO, the investment club, the money market fund, wherever it goes. Now, on a monthly basis, the money is spread among all those areas. Now, the biggest challenge we have is not being sure which cashier is taking more than their share. So, because every one of them must take only their share, so that there's enough for everybody. Now, that is what we're calling self-care, that I'm balanced. That yes, I am making my contribution to the kingdom of God, but I'm also taking care of my family. I am taking care of my family, but I'm also participating in community activities. Because we don't do that, there's going to be an imbalance. And when there's an imbalance, stress is going to come our way. Stress is a sign of not caring for ourselves. So self-care says, can we be sure where the money is going? Once you're sure where the money is going, it's easier to adjust. And this becomes powerful. It's very easy to adjust. You can actually look at the money that you have and say, I don't think I like where this money is going. You know, you might see your rent is too high and you tell yourself, no, I'm paying too much for rent. Maybe I need to move house. And it's possible you can move house. I had a testimony from somebody the other day. They moved a house, they're paying half what they were paying before. They're saying the extra money that was going into housing, now they are feeding better and they're saving more. So you can always be able to do an adjustment. You can look at your transport cost and say, I'm spending too much transport. Why? Maybe if I woke up earlier, cost of moving is a bit lower very early in the morning. Okay, or maybe I'm driving the car, but I'm only heating when traffic is very high, so I'm consuming a lot of fuel. So when you have those numbers very, very clear, that's why we're saying becoming financially naked to yourself, not to other people, to yourself. That becomes a very big act of self-care, because now you have a lot of clarity. You can actually be able to adjust, and you're very clear on what is going to be adjusted. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wahome. On that point, number 3, maybe you can note another question so that we can come back to it, because the live will disappear and sometimes the question they get filtered.
Okay.
What can we do to avoid this issue of impulse buying, and how do I deal with the frustrations after I find I'm giving more than I am earning? I think it talks about the 7 pots that you've just said.
Yes.
Sometimes they become imbalanced and we feel guilty afterwards. We want to participate maybe in a community thing, but you remember you bought something that you actually didn't need, so you're feeling guilty in some ways. So maybe we can answer to that. I don't know what's
No, we can answer to that. I think there are 2 questions there. There's impulse buying. Impulse buying is seeing and buying. You hadn't thought about it. You know, you just saw it, it looked good, you bought it.
Why not?
And sometimes when you take it home, it doesn't look as great as it looked when you saw it. And chances are you will not even use it. I want you to see that shoe we buy in town in the evening. It looks fantastic. But when you get home, it looks like it has changed color.
It's not the
because in town we have the neon lights from in the streets. At home, the lights are white, and that makes a difference. And now it doesn't look like it can fit in the outfit we wanted, and so we keep it aside. And chances are we'll not even use it over time. So how do we deal with impulse buying? There are different ways of dealing with impulse buying. Number 1, if you know you are a victim of impulse buying, minimize the cash on you. Don't carry a lot of money. Because when you don't have the money, chances are, even if you seem you like it and you don't have the money, that's okay. What else do you do? In fact, we always say, if you see it and it looks very attractive, just continue where you're going. If you get to where you're going and you still think about it, come back and buy it. That delay will actually tell you whether it was important or important. So you can minimize the amount of cash that you have on it. Okay. Now the other thing, sometimes you avoid some places. If for you, your biggest weakness is the shopping mall on Sunday after Mass, why are you going to the shopping mall unless you're going to buy? Because if you hang around like that, you will find yourself buying things that you don't. It might be talking to hawkers. Why do you keep talking to hawkers? The more you talk to them, the more you're going to buy. So it's a personal thing. You say, what is motivating me into buying it? So that if you don't like it, you can be able to control yourself. So it's a question of personal discipline. Yeah. There's a second question?
Yeah, of feeling guilty afterwards when sometimes the pots are not balancing.
This is what we are talking about, self-care. It's a lesson. It's not something you win on day 1. Yes, you're going to feel guilty that maybe you contributed to the community activity, your children wanted something serious, and now you can't buy it for them. and you're feeling guilty, again, it's just a question of time. We learn as we go. So you might be feeling guilty now, but over time you're going to feel much better. Yeah.
Okay. Now we can go to number 4.
Okay, we can go to action 4, and action 4 is about savings. You know, as it is now, when I look at majority of the clients who I work with, sometimes I find they are under saving. They're spending more money than they are saving. But we always say, if you want savings to work, you must have focus. You must tell yourself, what are you saving for? And the first thing we always say, prioritize an emergency fund. Why do you want to prioritize an emergency fund? Because when emergencies show up, they require immediate attention. They can't wait. If you don't have the money to deal with that emergency, what will happen? You'll take very expensive credit. And we're looking at simple things. If the phone broke, you have to replace it within a short time. If the money isn't there, chances are even the Shyrock is okay. You will take money from anywhere, but it's going to be very, very expensive. But if you focus on it and you set up your emergency fund, because the other thing is you can have disruption on income. Very common. People get retrenched, people get sick, businesses burn. Have we not seen businesses burn in this city? Yeah. So if you have that amount of savings, then it makes it easier for you to have some comfort. So the basic savings, like you have an emergency fund, just a safety net to make sure that should anything happen, you will have a fallback position. So that becomes very, very important. You think about the scenarios that can happen. You even try to say what qualifies for this fund. And if you're able to do that, that little savings you have will always give you some comfort. Once you have that comfort, it's very easy to do the other things. And that's why we say, when you're doing that kind of saving, we always say automate your money movement. Don't be the one involved. Tell your employer to do a check-off from your pay and send it to this account. You know the beauty of that, as long as you give the written instructions, it will happen every month. Because now that's work for payroll to be able to do that. Alternatively, give your bank instructions. Tell them at the end of on this day every month, move my money from here to here, and that will happen. When you automate money movement, it is going to happen all the time. The person who was suffering impulse buying, if they didn't have the cash, they will not have that problem because now they don't have the cash. So if you actually able to transfer, and you can transfer this money maybe to a money market fund, and when you want to access it, it is readily as accessible for you. So that's how you're going to reduce financial stress, and we're also going to reduce financial wastage, because you have seen, as long as you don't have purpose for money, money will always not want to stay. It will have to look for somewhere to go, and chances are it ends up being a lot of wastage. And so we are looking at how do you reduce your stress. You're reducing your stress by saving on purpose. I have a reason why I'm saving, and I have an idea where I'll be able to put my savings.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Wahome, for that, especially the saving with the purpose. And you said that we sometimes undersave.
Yes.
And we overuse. Yes. How can we balance that?
We can balance that. That's why we set goals. Because you're saying, these are the things I want to achieve. This is the income I have. And that's part of it. That's why we capture expenses. So that's very easy to know, what am I expending? Where is the money going? When you think where the money is going, you can do a few changes. You can actually decide, okay, part of the reason why my money is not going where I want it, maybe when I go shopping, I don't even use a shopping list. But just using a shopping list, you are more deliberate. And by being deliberate, you will find you make some savings. You might actually decide, okay, where I live, we even have a market where we buy groceries and veggies. If you go on a market day, you save. There's a bit of saving that's done. You become deliberate in how you spend your money. That being deliberate in how you spend money, make sure that every shilling gives you more value, and you can actually be able to balance out.
Okay. And also on the emergency fund, do we have a specific amount in as much as maybe our expenses and our life is concerned, maybe how big the family is? And sometimes, by the grace of God, there's no emergency. So at the end of the day, do we still leave that emergency fund there, or we take it maybe to our savings, or we just leave it there?
That's why we said we will put it in a money market fund. A money market fund is an investment. If you don't take it, it is invested. It is giving you a return.
Yeah.
The day you want it, it's available.
It's
because
there.
a money market fund, you can be able to get your money maybe in a day, maybe in 2 days.
Yeah,
So the day you want it, you can get it. So it is different from your savings account because giving a better return than the savings account. How much should it be? Enough to cover all your expenses for 3 months for a start.
Okay.
So should you be out of income for 3 months, life will continue like nothing happened. In fact, if you extend it to 6 months, the better. The logic is simple. If somebody goes out of income and they're able to sustain their life for 3 months, they will have found another way of generating new income.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wahome. You can see another message. Pass our gratitude to Mr. Wahome for the good work he's doing. Happy Tuesday. This is Eva Ronald. Thank you so much, Eva Ronald. I'm also learning a lot courtesy of Mr. Wahome. Let us take a very short commercial break and then we will be back with more. We are in point number 4, so we still have point number 5 as the action plan into personal financial care. This is Womini Morning Drive Show. My name is Keto Dor. How are you today? And good morning. And I can see another message. Thank you, Mr. Wahome, about the impulse buying. So many of us are there. I am glad that you're learning and you're taking notes. It is good to take notes. So, Mr. Wahome, maybe we continue with the action number 5.
Yes, we can look at action number 5, and this specifically is for people who are employees. If you are an employee, take advantage of your employee benefits. Sometimes we don't even take advantage of them. If your employer has sponsored a retirement plan, and it is possible to do optional additional voluntary contributions, take it up because those voluntary additional contributions will fast track the fund you're building for your retirement. You already have a nice vehicle, which you can. So, people who are not employees have to go and set up their own. Now, your employer has set up one. And so if maybe your employer is saying 5%, you 5%, you can add on more than that. You're going to take, and we say, yes, contribute, take advantage of the tax rebates that are available, As it is now, I think for a contribution of up to 20,000 shillings, you don't pay taxes. I think with all these issues around the Finance Act, they want to take it to 30,000. We're not sure what's going to happen, but it's good to make sure that you're taking advantage. If government is going to give you a rebate, please don't refuse to take the rebate. Accept to take the rebate. If you have an employer medical scheme and you think the amount of inpatient cover is not very reasonable, you can top it up on your employer. The employer can allow you to pay slightly more, and that can top up your medical so that you have adequate family medical cover. So it is another important thing that you can take. It makes it easier. It's not expensive and makes it easier for you to be able to top up for your medical scheme so that your inpatient cover can be reasonable. You can be able to cover more than what your employer offers. The other thing you can take, if your employer is giving loan for home ownership at a rate that is lower than the market rate, I always say take that loan. Take that loan. Because if you're getting, I think it's government that gives about 3 or 5%, and the market is at 19, why would you want to wait for 19 if you can actually be able to get this? You get it. If you leave that employer, somehow you'll be able to sort out those issues. You should not be worried. So we can actually be able to take advantage of our employers' facilities, and that becomes a very, very important step in self-care. If your retirement fund is building at a faster rate, it means your retirement is going to be more comfortable. If you have taken advantage of the medical scheme, it means if somebody got unwell in the family, chances are the whole bill will be paid so that you don't have a bill to be able to think about. If you take the home ownership loan, which is available, that means you start your home ownership earlier at money that is not very expensive. So they are simple things, but they're very, very important things that you can be able to do. So it is important to enjoy your life. Yes, be comfortable, but always keep one ahead. Always keep one ahead. And that is why we look at goals. So when you're looking at routine self-care, it's not the big things. It's the smaller things that you do here, the other thing that you do here. And they'll be very rewarding. In the long term, they become very, very rewarding. And if you're doing well with your finances and you set the things that you wanted to do and you've done them, you should also be rewarding yourself. If that rewarding means eating an ice cream once in a while, why not? If it means taking a short holiday, why not? Reward yourself. If you say to yourself you're going to do something, those positive reinforcements, they get you to continue into doing something better. And you know, surprisingly, as you're doing better things in life, you feel good about yourself. And self-care is all about feeling good about yourself. And when you feel good about yourself, you can actually be able to do much more. Much more. Yeah.
But also, Mr. Hobby, maybe you talk to us. We know when to start the self-care, but when to stop is actually the problem. So when it is buying, we continue buying until when it is too much, before we realize it, we've bought everything.
No, we have a budget,
Yeah.
so we cannot buy everything
We
because
also budget for what
we started with a
reward.
budget. Yeah, you're even rewarding yourself when you have budget. You know the way you have a budget and you have a component called miscellaneous.
Yeah.
That miscellaneous is what don't blow it. If it is your 10,000, your 20,000, work within that. Don't blow it, because if you blow it, remember the pots we talked about. You will be taking money from another pot, and that is not going to be self-care. What we have seen consistently is a lot of people get stressed around money. And people who get stressed around money, they stress other people in their life. Part of the problems we have in this country, all these femicides we are talking about, some of them have their origin from the money. You know, the money wasn't managed well, and people got uncomfortable and quarreled about money. So when people are happy about their money life, they are likely to be having a good life even themselves. Yeah.
That is very key and very important to note. Thank you for that. And also, there was a question. I am just trying to find it.
Okay.
It was about when we grew up with knowing Hakuna Pesa, and it has affected how we even spend our money, how we live our life. You find like you have money, but you still don't want to afford these things. It's not like you cannot afford, but you can actually afford. But that fear of Hakuna Pesa keeps on gripping, and it creeps you and make you maybe not buy the things that you want.
That's why we say that was action one. And it is not only on the money life, it's on many things.
Yes,
people parent the way they were parented. You know, people treat workers the way they saw workers treated when they were young. So it's a whole thing. And then we have sometimes come up with mistakes. We saw things that are not right. You know, as you're brought up, you saw maybe parents were always harsh to workers and didn't regard them well. Sometimes, you know, you might be tempted to think that's the norm. Yeah. That's the way things are done. Okay. And we say, as you grow up, you must now get to a point to say, is it right? Is there another way of doing it? So yes, we may have had Hakuna Pesa, but at least now we know you can organize the money you have much better. So that then, or you came from an environment, the day there's money, there was a huge party. The day there's no money, party is gone. Yeah. So now we know we can be able to organize it much better. We can actually be able to do different things. We can do budgets. We can capture expenses. We can have a shopping list, you know, all those small steps that make it easier for us to be able to do well with our money.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wahome. I think we'll stop at that. Maybe you give us your parting shot, and then we end it here for today. Hoping that our listeners, they've learned a lot and they've taken a lot of notes.
Thank you, our listener. I am hoping that those 5 actions are actions you're going to take at this part of the year. And this is a good time when you can actually be able to take those actions as we get into the new year, so that when we get into the new year, we are reflecting positively, we have positive vibes. So it is important to take care of ourselves. I know we want to look better, we want to feel better. Isn't this why we go to the gym and we do all the other things and we try to eat well? But as we do all those things, let's take care. We are all rounded. We have to take care of our physical health, our mental health, you know, our emotional health, our spiritual health, our environmental health, and we have to take care about our financial health. So today we've talked about issues around our financial health, and I'm hoping those 5 actions are very, very important. Just go back and ask yourself, what's my story when I was young? Reflect back and see, is there something I want to change here somewhere? And that's why in life sometimes we get mentors, people who can help us to get out of where we are. Now, set up your goals, because your goals are going to inform the money habits that you're going to have. You will not find yourself getting lost and spending money the way you did not need to do it. And number 3, we said track your expenses. It is very, very important. Just answer this question: where did my money go? Once you're able to answer that question, I think you'll have some comfort in the way that you do things. And if you want that to work, focus your savings. Just be sure, what am I trying to save for? And if you're an employee, take advantage of your employer's number. But bottom line, accept that you have a responsibility to build your capacity to deal with money. You have the responsibility to try and improve where you are, whether you're going to read a book, whether you're going to register into a program. This was not taught in the school system. And because it was not taught in the school system, we have to learn. If you don't learn intentionally, then the world will push you to learn. You know, there's that college of hard knocks where you actually make mistakes. And that's why we invite you to come to the masterclass. It is structured. We have taught people in this class for quite some while. That's why we're in season 45. Come in and listen. If you like it, fine. If you don't like it, there's no problem. There's no problem. So 0708 150 137. We look forward to meeting you tonight. I think we have a session tonight. And when we're given a chance next time, we will get a topic to discuss, and you can actually be able to tell us what do you want us to discuss, because I think it's important for us to be sure we're discussing what our listener wants to hear or they want to learn about. So if you have something that you want, let Kate know, and we can prepare for that.